Hi, this is Greg Reynolds, and I'm at the Hyatt House Hotel. And this is probably where I spent the best summer of my life. Was 1969. I had graduated from high school. I was 17 years old. And I parked cars here every day, Saturday and Sundays. It was at this location of the Purple Hotel, it's been called, that I saw the space landing right inside those doors on a tiny little television set. That was the summer of Woodstock, and a bus arrived here. That was the first I heard of Woodstock, and all these little girls were going off to meet the rock bands. This was our office. I worked for Denny Dono. I worked with Maury. I worked with many of my friends and brothers. We recruited, all of our friends worked here. What I want to do is make a movie of this beautiful hotel, historical Lincolnwood. I've lived in Lincolnwood since I was less than 1 year old. Well, I did live there. The hotel's probably one of the most famous of the era, 1969. And what was important is there weren't that many hotels by the airport, so this really was a hub for the airport. Many pilots would come. Stewardesses, air personnel would be at the Hyatt House. I lived here for a week because when my family moved here when I was about to be in 8th grade, we didn't have a house yet. We had to wait a week, but we had school, so I lived in this hotel for 1 week. Michael Jordan lived here for, they say, a week or so when he was being recruited by the Bulls, and he came to town. So I have an idea for the town of Lincolnwood. What I'd like to do is invite every band who was ever here to come back for one last night, put on a big concert out here in our parking lot, and then they're allowed to go back to their room, and in the tradition of the 60s and 70s, trash their room. So out of 200 or 300 rooms, we could have 200 or 300 bands. Anybody who ever played a Ravinia in the 60s or 70s, they come put on their concert outside here, then they go up to their room and they trash their room. Because Lincolnwood has to figure out a way to sell this or demolish it or make some good use of this beautiful land. We're at Toohey and Lincoln Avenue near the near the Edens Expressway. You can tell how dismantled the place has become. It's said mold infested, and you can just see that it's dilapidated and fallen apart. The things that happened right here, amazing. Peter Epstein owned the Pontiac dealership right up Lincoln Avenue, and he was a fun person with a lot of contacts, and it's said that the Rat Pack would come to town. They would stay. They may not stay here, but they'd be here for some drinks and fun. A lot of firsts happened. My own particular work was they trusted me. I had learned how to drive right here. I learned how to drive a 68 GTO stick, and that's an adventure. I'd like to tell the story of my own babysitter. Grew up, had her own children, came to town and needed her own babysitter. With her, she brought Nancy from Poughkeepsie. So I fell in love with my babysitter's babysitter, and she lived here for the week that they stayed here. We got to figure out the history, why purple, the design, I think 60s design, maybe 50s. And iconically, what it has meant, how many brides, how many bar mitzvahs, how many reunions, how many people had their first anything here, first adventure. I know I had a few. I worked with Denny Dono. He is famous. Sorry, Denny's been deceased about 8 years, but we have to talk about him. He was quite the character. We'd wear pea coats to park the cars. 200 or 300 cars, park them in about 40 minutes, and then be ready in an hour and a half to pull them all back out. I don't know how many we could fill. I'm sure we could park 300 cars. We had lot after lot after lot, and behind here, we would never park down there. That was always the hotels. We'd let them have that. We were more the restaurant and the banquets. But we would park all the way down Lincoln Avenue. I'm not kidding you. It might take you a half hour to get your car from us. Parking standard was $1 to park, and then we'd like a tip. Jack Brickhouse had a little white Mustang. I never cared for him or his Mustang. I had a red Mustang. He would come, park his car, not pay the dollar, not have a tip for anybody, and block one of our 4 aisles here. These are precious aisles, and he thought he was precious enough for us. I never saw eye to eye with him on that one. Like Riverview, this thing lays in people's memories, and there's probably 1 or 2 more episodes that anybody watching a documentary could add to the story of Hyatt House. It was the first Hyatt hotel, so think of what this was really to the American economy. It started something, one of the biggest hotels that there is, the most respected. I always remember just the fun of it all. I mean, sure, I was a kid, and I was making so much money. I would come home after a day's work, come home about 6 o'clock, and really have $150 cash on me. And that was all legal. My dad was like, whoa, how do you do that? I can't believe what this looks like now, and I don't even want to get in any trouble. But, I mean, New Year's Eve, this is where I'd be, freezing. Mr. Foley ran the restaurant, and the deal was $1 a car and we keep the rest, so he didn't have to pay us and we didn't have to do anything except make the mark, you know, give him what he knew he was going to get anyway. Dilapidated, I know, it's sad. That's the swimming pool. I remember an Olympic diver, don't know his name, he had, I think, won an Olympics, and he'd come here just to practice. He was in his 60s, 70s. The coffee shop here, there was a Peppercorn was here too, and it's really different to look at it. But this aisle right here, just inside there, to think of how many bridal parties were there. Really terrible that nothing is going on here. So I'd like something to happen. But I want to make the movie. I want to get a good collaborator to work with me, and probably put out some information to Lincolnwood, the village. Tell them we're interested in driving up some interest and getting stories out here, things that people have to say, and the things that people would like to be remembered about this building. So it's purple, it's a white elephant, it's the big orangutan in the room. It's a crazy place. I had keys to 20 rooms, and as a 17-year-old, I don't think I took full advantage of what I really had here, but some of my friends did, and definitely my bosses did. And I never made money like that beautiful parking industry that I learned right here. I have 15, 20 more stories, and I have 15, 20 people with more stories. I have to bring Maury out here. I just want to get a good look at the place. Maybe we will walk around the whole building. I guess the pool's filled in. There's a lifeguard's chair anyway. It's called ETC now, and I don't recall ever being there that it was ETC. I remember these spots, 1, 2, 3, A, B, D. Then he wasn't exactly literate. In fact, I got my nickname. My name is Greg, but he wrote it as Crick, K-R-I-K. That's how he thought Greg was spelled. So from that point on, I was Crick and Cricklewood Crick, and just think of us hustling here with our pea coats on, those little blue navy jackets. I won't mention what happened right over at that corner, but I'm not sure. I'm sure I wasn't the only or the first. These pussy willows look better than anything here. And I remember walking home freezing cold, but having $150 in my pocket at 2, 3 in the morning. There was a nice Chinese restaurant right over there. A lot of what's going on here today is just remedies to keep it from destroying itself. I don't know what all that is. Looks like they had to change electrical for the whole place. They're trying to sell it, but in the meantime, we're going to film it, make it live again one more time in the minds of many who could contribute to us, and maybe we'll be helpful to the town of Lincolnwood, the village of Lincolnwood, in either selling it or having it brought to the ground. That's what I want to say. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to make a business plan and a presentation, and let's have some fun. That was my office when I was a kid. This is my laboratory where I learned how to drive and park. and we'll get into those fun stories.